Many of those who fought in the war are sadly now forgotten, but not all, because Casa Lom has been looking at 3 very different winners of the highest medal for bravery, the VC, the Victoria Cross.
1918, and a weary Britain had been at war with Germany for 4 years. Millions had answered the call to arms. Most simply did their duty and hoped to make it home. But some did so much more. This is the story of 3 Victoria Cross heroes from World War I. The soldier who risked death but wouldn't take a life. The young sailor from the landlocked Midlands. And a pioneer of the new and terrifying war in the air. Only 1,300 VCs have been awarded in the medal's 160-year history. Astonishingly, almost half were won in just 4 years of fighting in the First World War. Lieutenant Alan Jerrard won his VC helping shoot down 5 enemy aircraft, but his luck ran out and he was forced down, a moment preserved on camera by his captors. He was the son of the headmaster at Bishop Vesey Grammar School in Sutton Coldfield.
So this, Kat, is the house where Alan Jerrard lived.
The present head is Dominic Robson.
To have a Victoria Cross winner is just an amazing thing. But also we want to inspire the next generation, because I think people have forgotten about World War I sometimes, and people need reminding about actually the bravery and the courage and the heroism of these people who've gone before us.
This has been a school for almost 500 years. Today there's a service and other events to remember their illustrious old boy. But pupils are also learning more about the mud, the misery, and even the food in the trenches. The staple diet of the British Tommy during World War I: hard bread and bully beef. Nowadays we know it as corned beef though. I hope the lads enjoy this.
That is so bad.
How was that for you?
The food wouldn't even be as good as this, because it'd be rotten as well. It's just not good.
Although the planes may be very different, the thrill of flying has passed down the Jerrard generations. Today's guest of honour was an airline pilot for 38 years.
I'd like to introduce myself as Tom Jerrard. I'm from Canada, and as it turned out, I'm a relative of Alan's. I can't believe it, really. And to have an event here that I'm able to get to is just something that was important to me and I had to do. I know from this event, it puts Alan more in my mind, and I think if I come up against any hardships from now on, I'll try to remember him and those qualities.
A grammar school education was just a dream for a child growing up in the Black Country, where hardship was the first lesson children learned. John Henry Carless grew up in a poor part of Walsall. He'd left school early and was working in the town's leather trade. Rejected by the army, he won his Victoria Cross on the high seas, serving on HMS Caledon. Catherine Lister is curator of Walsall's Leather Museum.
Caledon was hit by salvos from a German ship. What happened was he was acting as a rammer at a gun, and the gun took a direct hit, so all of his immediate shipmates became casualties, so they were either killed or injured. He sustained a wound to the abdomen, which was obviously going to kill him, but he carried on firing at the German ships, and then when the new crew came to relieve him, he cheered them on, and at that point he collapsed and he died.
And there's something that makes this VC particularly rare and valuable.
VCs were awarded with a red ribbon for Army recipients and a blue ribbon for the Navy ones. But in 1920 this was standardised, they all became red. The earlier ones were supposed to be returned, but Carless's family never did that, so it still has the blue ribbon.
Take a look at that stitching, almost certainly done by a proud but grieving mum.
What's special about Carless is how completely ordinary he is, how very Walsall he was. He was a local lad ordinary family, working class. He worked in the local leather trade. He's every young Walsall lad of the time. He just happened to do something extraordinary.
Collectors have paid £1 million for the rarest VCs, but the Carless family decided to gift his medal to the people of Walsall.
And your family's involvement in World War I must be something that's held with so much pride.
Yes, it is, and I can remember right from when I was a child, and my granny, who was John Henry Carless's sister, she would go every Remembrance Day and support him, and all the family have right through. Walsall has made a very good job of commemorating John Henry Carless, so it's up to us, it's up to my generation to pass it on. That's the only way it's going to work.
20 miles away, a gardener had left his job in the parks and gardens of Burton-on-Trent for the trenches.
He went on to become the most decorated ordinary soldier of the war, but his story is even more extraordinary because he refused to take a life, yet he risked his own countless times.
His name was William Bill Coltman. This is the only surviving footage of him, taken in the 1960s. Always more comfortable with a spade or garden fork in his hand than a rifle, happier talking about his vegetables than his VC. Lance Corporal Coltman became a stretcher bearer. Devoutly religious, he felt taking another life conflicted with his Christian beliefs. Time and again, he went into no man's land to bring back the wounded. The recreated trench at the Staffordshire Regiment Museum near Lichfield is where I'm meeting Bill's grandson John and his great-grandson Tim.
There are 4 grandchildren, I'm the eldest, and every one of them in turn has said, he never spoke about it. We knew he had the medals, we saw the medals, they were kept in a drawer, but we didn't know what he had done in order that he might be awarded those medals.
It's quite a remarkable story. In fact, somebody once said of William that he's probably one of the bravest and the most decorated men that people have never heard of. And what happened 100 years ago needs to be told, and especially to the next generation. So we started going to schools and teaching the next generation about war. It's not a computer game, it's not a film. And going through his life and tracing his life. And so the last 4 years I've pretty much spent a lot of the time going over the country to all of these different groups, and any groups that might be interested to tell the story of William.
And am I right in thinking that you yourself, you've never actually seen the medal?
Not seen the medal, no.
We've got a little surprise for you, actually.
Well,
you can take it out, you can have a look at it as well.
Yeah. That's the first time I've ever seen it. Certainly the first time I've handled it. So
what's it feel like to be?
It's just immense. Absolutely amazing.
3 heroes remembered, while so many are now forgotten. Back at Alan Jerrard's old school in Sutton Coldfield, the day in his honour is coming to an end. Headmaster Dominic is sure all the effort's been worthwhile.
This is a real opportunity. It's a real opportunity for us as a school to raise awareness of the amazing bravery and inspiration of so many people who did amazing, incredible things as ordinary people in World War I.
The gallant pilot officer, the young sailor, and the soldier who refused to kill. So different, yet each living up to those simple words, for valour, the inscription carried on every Victoria Cross.
And Bill Coltman lived just a stone's throw away from here. As a gardener and a man who didn't like too much fuss, I'm sure he'd have appreciated this very simple memorial, one amongst so many here. Right, that's your lot for tonight. Don't forget, we're on